Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day of movement meditations. Today, I want to do a lesson that I've thought up that I hope has some maybe playful element to it, but I think it's kind of reincorporating some of the stuff that we've done earlier in the week into the kind of the larger movement pattern of the body. So the way that I want to do that today is by bringing the arms on top of the head. Now, that may be a bit difficult for some people, so you'll have to obviously take that at your own pace, bringing your arms down when you need to. But the way that I'd like to do it is if you have your hands interlaced, but you put your right thumb through the gap between your index finger and your middle finger so that you can take hold of your hands in that position. And then we're going to bring them up to the top of the head. So don't worry about that for now, but I want you to just, the thumb coming in between the middle finger and the index finger. Okay. So sorry, my breathing's a bit bad today as well. So if you notice that, please bear with me. Hay fever obviously is a little bit lighter today because the weather's better, but I still have all the effects from the last couple of weeks that I'm still dealing with. So not fun. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I hope that you've been enjoying this series this week to do with the arms. I hope your arms are feeling good. It would be great to hear from you if you've noticed any improvements, if you've kind of developed a different relationship with your arms and arm movement. And I want to just go back very briefly to something that we did. I can't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but just lifting an arm up and putting it down. Lifting the other arm up and putting it down, and just see how they feel now. Is that an easy thing to do? How does it feel this morning? Is there a difference between the left arm and the right arm when you lift it up? Okay, good. So just close your eyes. Bring your attention to your breathing. And just feel how your shoulders are resting on top of the ribs, on top of the moving ribs. So with each in-breath and out-breath, there's some sense that there's movement in the ribs underneath the shoulders. Good. And feel down the whole length of the arm. Feel how it feels to you. Is there a difference in feeling? So with your eyes closed, is there a difference in the feeling of length between your two arms? And where would you, in terms of your feeling, where would you say that your arms attach into your body? Could be a number of places, but you might feel like it's a quite specific one. And then just bring your attention to your shoulder blades at the back of your body. And again, feel your breathing, see if there's any movement underneath the shoulder blade with the ribs. Good. And just feel like maybe you feel a difference in position, the left shoulder blade versus the right shoulder blade. Great. Okay. So if you can, bring your hands into that position that I suggested earlier. Take your right thumb, place it in between the gap between your index finger and your middle finger, and then lift your hands and just place them up on top of your head. So you've got your hands in this position, and then you're just going to lift them up and put them on top of your head. Good. So then in this position, I just want you to move your one elbow, you can start off with your right elbow, just very gently out to the outside of the body and then back into the inside of the body. And just feel where you can move the elbow to comfortably in this position. See if you can stay aware or keep some attention on the movement of your breathing, your ribs underneath your shoulder. And feel as you do this movement, where does your shoulder, where does the elbow movement influence? Where do you feel it? Good, and then take a little rest with the right shoulder, right elbow, and then just begin to move the left elbow. And notice any difference in the ability to move that elbow in and out to the outside of the body and into the midline. And obviously you've got some restriction, you've got a constraint in your hands. Have my camera a bit higher. So you've got this constraint up at the top of your head and the hands really can't move much. And then you're just moving your left elbow now in and out. Good. And then before you take a rest, see if you can just move both elbows in and out at the same time, just very comfortably. And then bring your arms down and take a rest. So yeah, I don't know. I can't see you guys, so I can't see if that's an issue, having the hands up on the top of the head like that. But if it is, let me know in the chat and maybe I can think of an alternative for you. So just take a moment to rest. Let yourself feel the effect of that, having the arms up above the head. And then when you're ready, I'd like you to take your left thumb, place it in between your right index finger and middle finger. Clasp your hands together and bring them back on top of the head. So swapping the hands over, the orientation of the hands just slightly, and then go back. So move now the right shoulder just a couple of times, in and out. How comfortably can you bring it to the outside of the body? How comfortably can you bring it to the inside of the body? Good. And then try a few times with the left shoulder, left elbow. Taking the left elbow to the outside of the body and then the inside of the body. And again, where do you notice this movement? And also, does it make you hold your breath? So yesterday we talked about one part of the body making 100 parts of the body move. So as you move your left elbow out to the side and back in, what other parts of your body are moving? Can you feel what it's doing in your left shoulder blade? Can you feel that it's having some effect on the ribs on the left side? Maybe even, the orientation or where you've got your weight in your pelvis is changing. Good. And then do both together. And then bring your arms slowly down and take a rest. So we're not going to spend too much time up there because obviously, for some people it's going to be a bit sore. But when you keep your hands together in this way, in some way, it's like we're keeping ourselves a little safer than we would if we were just having our arms up. Good. Now what I want you to do is just keep your hands in this position so that the left thumb is through the right index finger and middle finger. And then just very gently lift your arms up and then bring them down. And just do that a couple of times. See if you can kind of feel a smoothness in that process. If you want to imagine something, you could imagine that you're lifting up an axe in order to chop wood. And you can take your hands further behind your head. How far back can they go comfortably? And bring them all the way down to resting towards your lap so that you give an opportunity to let go of effort. Good. Take a little rest. I'm sure some of you are thinking, how is he going to get to the concept of learning to fly from this? So what you notice as you're bringing your arms up in this way is that you're really kind of involving the back, involving the muscles of the back and the extensors of the back. And then when you're bringing your hands forwards, then you're using the flexion muscles or the flexor muscles of the front of the body. You've got this relationship between flexion and extension. Good. All right, so then swap your hands over. So you've got your right thumb and you place it between the left index finger and middle finger. And then bring them up and then just rest them on top of the head. Comfortably where you feel that you can rest the hands. And then what I'd like you to do is just to begin to look upwards. So you're going to look upwards towards the ceiling. And then you're going to look downwards towards the floor. And just do it really slowly and gently. See if you can trace a line on the wall and the ceiling. And just make this movement as smooth, as comfortable as you can, looking down towards the floor and looking up towards the ceiling. And you notice, if you're watching or if you haven't got your eyes closed, that I'm allowing my spine to bend and open up as I look upwards. So open up as I look towards the sky. And then as I look down towards the floor, then I'm flexing. My eyes are looking down and my spine is bending. Good. And then come back up. And does this in some way make it easier for you to have your arms up on your head like this? Does it change the focus? Looking up towards the ceiling and down towards the floor. And you notice as you're doing this, maybe you feel that as you look down, that your pelvis can roll backwards slightly. And as you look up, that your pelvis rolls forward slightly, just naturally, without kind of making more effort. Good. Bring your arms down very gently. Take your time. Bring them down and take a rest. So just rest, take a longer rest with your arms down, lying in your lap. Maybe you can unattach them so they're not holding on to each other. And again, just close your eyes, feel your breathing. Feel how your arms are now. Feel any difference in length between the two. Yeah, just take a slightly longer rest. Let yourself just sort of hang out for a bit. Hang out for a moment. It's good to remember that it's not about achievement. It's not about kind of getting the exercise right and Hopefully that's implied in the lesson title, or in general in the way that I teach, and the sort of teaching style from the Feldenkrais method is that it's actually more about learning about yourself. So we're using these exercises, we're using these movements for you to discover things about yourself and work with maybe areas that you aren't aware of, areas that you find difficult, and kind of bring them into a more comfortable experience. And the more you do that gradually, bit by bit, then there's a kind of possibility that, it sounds maybe grandiose, but your life improves. So we look at these kind of small improvements in small areas, and then as it builds a bigger picture, and in some way the overall experience improves. Okay, so take your left thumb, place it between your index finger and your middle finger. Get hold of your two hands and then bring them up. Just rest them on top of the head. Okay, and now what I want you to do is go back to closing the elbows together and then opening the elbows apart. But I want you to incorporate looking down as you bring the elbows together and looking up as you bring the elbows apart. Looking down as you bring them together. Looking up as you bring them apart. So you can imagine that your elbows are wings, and that you're flapping your wings. But this is like the initial part of learning to fly. You haven't figured it out yet. And notice as you open and close your shoulders, as you look towards the ceiling and look towards the floor, what's happening in your shoulder blades? Take a little rest when you need to. You don't need to keep doing it. You can wait, take a little rest. Let your arms relax, let your back relax. There's quite a lot of moving parts in this, so really take your time. Good, and if you're ready, if you want to do it again, then you just begin looking down, taking your elbows together, and then looking up and take your elbows apart. And let's tie it in with the breathing as well. So as you come down, as you bring your elbows together, I want you to breathe out. And as you open up and look up towards the ceiling, I want you to breathe in. So breathing out as you come down, breathing in as you come up. Okay, very slowly, take your arms off your head and slowly lower them down. Slowly lower them down past your face, past your chest, and rest them for a second, keeping the hands interlaced. And then just lift the arms up again. And as we did earlier, take them behind the head and see how that feels, and bring them forwards. And again, maybe you can think of this image of chopping wood. Maybe you can follow the hands with the eyes. Okay. Bring your arms down and take a rest. Feel the movement of your breath, the movement of the ribs underneath the shoulders. Let your hands relax. Let go of the interlacing for a second. So one of the things that Moshe Feldenkrais talks about is the balance between flexion and extension. And this exercise is really kind of looking at that specifically. So we're going to take it a little step further. We're going to basically do the same movement, but just explore that fine balance between flexion and extension. If your shoulders are feeling okay, if they can handle another little movement or two, take your right thumb between your left index finger and middle finger, bring your hands up to the top of your head. And maybe you can feel that your spine supports your hands, so that there's some upwards force through your spine, through your neck, through your head, and it's supporting your hands. And then what I want you to do is just to look very gently up, so the head comes back slightly and the elbows open, and then come back to the middle. So the eyes are kind of more on the horizon, and then just do that a couple of times. Look back, open the elbows, and come back down to the horizon. And each time you look up, you take your head backwards slightly, you can breathe in. And as you come forwards, you can breathe out and look to the horizon. So we're not going all the way down into flexion now. Okay, and then what I want you to do is just very gently with your hands on top of your head, just roll your hands across the top of your head so that you roll them backwards as you look up, and you roll them forwards as you look down. Okay, slowly take your hands off your head, bring them down, just rest them down in front of you for a second. Swap your hands and your fingers over so that your left thumb goes through the right index finger and middle finger. Lift your hands over your head and just see where they go behind you now. The next time you do it, just rest them gently on top of your head. And again, open your elbows and then close your elbows and come all the way down, coming back to flexion and extension. And maybe you can get some sense that each movement like this is a flap of your wings. And maybe it's more like, have you seen those flying squirrels or little creatures that they can't fly, but they open up their body and they travel through the air jumping. And because their body's wide and open, it acts like a parachute. Maybe this is more like a parachute. So look up, breathe out, bring the elbows together. And just see if you can make that a comfortable movement. Maybe you can make it a bit faster, a bit lighter. Get some sense that these arms are acting like wings. And you're getting ready for takeoff. Okay. Take your arms off very slowly. Just very gently bring them back down. Let go of your hands. Yeah, maybe just feel how you're sitting now. Has that changed how you're sitting? Are you sitting in a different position than you were when you started? Do you feel taller? Do you feel in some way stronger? So when Moshe talks about this in one of his books, he's talking about it, as I was saying, in terms of swinging an axe. And he's saying that there's a point in between extension and flexion that is our kind of midpoint. And really, that's where we're very much in balance between those two systems. But you can also see that this is really how we generate a lot of strength in that movement. So as you extend, you bring the axe up. And then as you bring it down quickly with flexion. And that really generates a lot of power. So maybe that's a bigger subject, but yeah, hopefully you feel that. Hopefully you feel a bit stronger after that too. Maybe it exposes the shoulders in a certain way, but I hope that you looked after yourself and you didn't do more than was comfortable. And it's something that you could take time with and just, maybe like throughout the rest of the day, at a certain point, you could just have your hand on top of your head and just feel, can you incorporate that movement? It's doing something very interesting with the shoulder blades, and maybe it's a movement that's less comfortable, but can you explore a less comfortable movement in a way that helps you feel comfortable within it? Okay. So thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love to hear in the comments what you think. To me, it felt like a good progression with what we had done yesterday and the day before. So yeah, I'd love to hear your feedback. Saturday tomorrow, and I'm teaching a full Feldenkrais class. That's on Zoom. The subject, of course, is self-regulation, and I'm going to teach a really lovely lesson that's one of my favorites. That's to do with the muscles of the eyes and just sort of a whole deeper sense of relaxation in the body. So if you are interested in that, I put the details up in my Facebook group, and you can just come along to that with the Zoom link that's in there. Again, there's a link to my PayPal page if you want to make a donation for these lessons. I'd appreciate that. And also, if you want to just stick a like and share it with your friends, that would be great as well. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And I will see you back on Monday morning at 11. Okay, take care. Bye.